Hi, everyone. It's your friends Anna and Mary back with another episode of the Living with Grace podcast. I want to thank you for listening truly because I know that this is going to be a very powerful episode. I know that something that you might hear today in this episode is going to be so incredibly important to you, possibly, or to someone you love, or maybe even someone that you don't know yet. This episode could change your life or the life of someone that you love. So, Anna is here to join us. And so, Anna, welcome. And would you please introduce us to today's topic? And if you could, please tell anyone who's listening what they might expect from this episode and from listening today. What might they learn?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my sweet Mary. We are here today to talk about a sensitive topic, to talk about something that really touches my heart. And I do believe that it's very important to bring awareness and not only prevention, because awareness is how we become conscious of what's going on and we could help each other and hold space. So we are going to talk about suicide prevention and awareness. September is September Yellow. It's the month for awareness and prevention regarding suicide. And I love that the color is yellow because yellow is such a powerful, bright, energetic color. And that's what I want for each one of you and us, Mary and I, who are participating in this episode. That we could bring an energy of healing, that we could bring an energy of understanding, that we could bring the energy of the sun, yellow and light, knowing that all we're going to talk about, we are bigger and we are greater and we are brighter because we are the sun and the sky in our souls. So that's it. We're going to talk about suicide prevention, awareness, healing tools, safety measurements, and everything that is related that we could hold each other and help each other to say yes every day to us, and to our lives. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you indeed. And it is such a sensitive topic, and I want to be aware myself and fully cognizant of the idea that this could be triggering. So if you have someone that in your life that you have loved who has completed suicide, or that you have someone in your life who struggles with suicidal ideation, we understand, we see you, we honor you, of course, and we want you to know that we're walking this with you today. And of course, if you are someone who is struggling, please reach out to someone. I'm going to just say that, we'll probably say that multiple times, but please know that I'm not a therapist. Anna is not a therapist. I'm a grief and health coach, and Anna is a doctor and coach. What we're sharing today is, our own experiences and things that we feel from our hearts, so that it might encourage or touch someone, help someone to get the help that they might need, or to support someone that they love who is dealing, with some very, very, very intense or deep emotions. So, yeah.
For those of you who feel triggered by this topic, Mary and I invite you to calm down, to ground yourself, to take a deep breath in and long exhale with us. And know that you are safe, you are loved. This is a sacred space, and we are going to talk about suicide with a different perspective, a perspective of healing, a perspective of acceptance, a perspective of compassion and belonging. By saying that, let's start this very important topic by bringing awareness and bringing life. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. Well, I guess, what I'm wondering is, Anna, you and I have had a lot of conversations about this topic, and we've talked about times in your life when you've had some deep emotions, and I have too. And I guess I guess I'll just start by saying that I um, I think that the topic in this conversation is really complicated. There's so much that I don't know, really. That I'm willing to admit I don't know or understand about this topic. I don't always know how to best support someone. I don't know what is considered quote unquote normal with regard to emotions that relate to suicidal ideation. So there are a lot of things that I kind of want to talk about with that. You've had more experience. Anna's had more experience with this than I have, and so I'm really so glad that she's going to be able to speak to this with a little bit more insight than I have, because I think it's going to be so helpful. The only, the things that come to mind um, that I wanted to kind of debunk right off the bat are that there's some myths around suicide, like the fact that if we talk about it, that it might trigger someone into following through with it, or the more we talk about it, the more likely suicide can be, or that suicide is a choice, so those are a couple of things that I kind of wanted to talk about, or get some guidance and some insight from our friend Anna here. Um,
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit, like Mary said, because this is something I had experienced. So I want to talk to you guys about suicide and how to be aware and how to um, exercise tools of healing and how to be an advocate and how to be present for you and for others. Because suicide is very dear for me in my heart. First of all, because I had some personal problems in my life that in sometimes I dealt with suicidal ideation much stronger than it is now. And I have learned about suicidal ideation, and I have learned that suicidal ideation can be part of my life and does not impair the fact that I'm going to keep building life despite of, because of, and with suicidal ideation. I also had a
hold it.
very
Hold on one second, Anna. I just wanted to jump in and ask that I was very curious to know. I'm sorry if it sounded like I was interrupting. I just wanted to stop here for a second because when you just said that you can build a life despite suicidal ideation, is that somehow, can that be a catalyst to somehow inspire to work harder at creating a life that is more satisfying, joyful, or peaceful? What would you say to that?
I believe so. I believe it's a work in progress. I believe it needs the person like me who deals with suicidal ideation. It is important to seek for help. It is important to have a coach, to have a therapist, to see a medical doctor in case, a psychiatrist in case you need medication to get out of the deep stages of being suicidal. Um, and yes, like Mary said, it's a work, a daily work that we are going to do daily together. And we're going to discuss the healing tools. But it's mainly being aware, and it's mainly catching the ideal, the suicidal ideation, and understanding, again, like we said earlier, that it is an idea, it is a thought, it is a feeling, it is not who I am. And I am bigger and I am greater than that. I am a child of God. I am like the sky blue, and the ideas and the thoughts and the feelings, they come, they go like the clouds. So it's mainly like being aware and having the semicolon, like a suicide ideation technique that I'm going to discuss, like pausing, whenever you have an idea of completing suicide, I would invite you to do what I do when I have my suicidal ideations, because it is maybe part of me now, and I accept and I embrace, because I am human and we are all humans. Some people never have suicidal ideation. Other people might think about suicide once in a while, like I'm driving my car and, oh, if I get out of the road and I hit my car in this tree and I die, what's going to happen? And then you shake your head and you forget about that. And some people deal with suicidal ideation daily, more than once. So wherever you are in your life, what I'm going to say is that this is an idea, this is a thought. And when it comes to you, just pause and sit with that, embrace, accept that you are human, accept that something difficult might be happening in your life, and just focus on the healing tools we're going to discuss later: the meditation, the journaling, the therapy, the medication if needed. So yes, because people who are dealing with suicidal ideation or who are thinking about completing suicide, many times they show you that they are thinking about it, because they change their behaviors, they get more angry or more anxious or snapping or more quiet and depressed. They might be dealing with depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. They might have a super stressful trauma happening in their lives right now.
Grief.
And yeah, they could be like grief, or they could have had a baby and be having postpartum depression. And also people who are dealing with chronic diseases like cancer, or chronic illnesses that are not cancer but are debilitating, chronic pain. So all this could lead people to talk a little bit more about their plans. So be aware if you are in this situation, and be aware if there is someone around you who is in this situation. However, we are talking about suicide today because I have at least 5 people who died by suicide that are very dear to me as well. Friends, medical doctors, 3 radiologists, 1 cardiologist, and 1 plastic surgeon. And these people are just like me. If I wouldn't talk about that I have suicidal ideation, you would never know, because like I try to be kind, and these people were kind and happy and fun to be around and funny and joyful, and they would travel and they would live life, and they had these suicidal ideations in their brains. And I am sorry, I never got to know, I never got to see. So if you are this person and you are not sharing, that's what I invite you to do. Share it like me, even if it's gonna help yourself, but not only for that, to help others who are dealing with suicide very quiet, very silently, because of shame, because of guilt, because of fear of being a burden. So I invite you to go out and talk about it. It's time for us to start talking out loud. That's why I'm saying about being an advocate. So going back, suicide is something that is a major problem, a major health concern. And in 2021, it was the 11th lead cause of death in the United States. And another factor that brings it to my heart is that I work with the veterans. I work at the VA, and I love working with veterans. And when I hear in our committees and meetings that 17 veterans die every day by completing suicide, it hurts my heart, because I am Brazilian. I am also an American citizen, but I moved here to the United States in 2008. And if there is something that I am so in awe all the time with this country, with this nation, is that veterans, military people, they really put their lives for us, right? And it's exactly what they say, the land of the free because of the brave. And these brave people come back home and they are so hurt because of PTSD or because of depression or anxiety or addictions, substance abuse. And I invite you to check on them, to be around, to really offer your shoulder, because we have to support the brave who support us. And that's another very important factor that I talked to Mary. Let's talk about suicide. And we decided that this would be very good to talk about now in September. Again, yellow September, light. Let's be light to others and let's be light for each one of us.
Yeah, I
Yes,
saw the statistic when you were saying that 17 veterans complete suicide every day, that they're 1.5 times more likely to complete suicide than the general population. 1.5 times. That's quite large. And it's just, yeah. So I think, you're exactly right. We need to be able to talk about this. We need to be able to, bring some light to this subject. Because I'm wondering, what I wonder about, the idea that I struggle with is that, which is which is another reason why I think it's so important to bring light to this issue, because I think that when you were talking about, driving your car into a guardrail or whatever, when I was in, the deep throes of grief, I did have those sort of thoughts, and I was in so much pain. It's not so much that I wanted to end my life. I just was in so much pain. I also couldn't foresee my way out of it. I couldn't see my way through it. And I think that what I'm wondering is if we're able to articulate that, if we're able to talk about that, then, as the person dealing with those thoughts, does that then give you an idea? Would that give me an idea of how, for lack of a better way to put this, how serious about it I am? You know what I mean? Would that, because, having that thought, and then if I think to be able to articulate it out loud, I would then say, I know I did say this to my two living children, that it's not that that I want to die. I just don't know how to live right now. I don't know how to do this. And so that is so hard. And I know that they worried terribly, for myself and my husband. But so I'm going on about that. But I just feel like if we are able to talk about it, talking about things always helps us to process it, right? And when we are stuck in our own minds, then that's where it's so dark. So bringing this to light, and being able to, I think, know that if we were to bring it up with someone, that they wouldn't go, the first thing that they want to do is call, the suicide hotline, which I'm not saying they shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I think that this is why we're talking about it, is to get an idea of, what are the steps? When is it, it's always serious, but when is it, appropriate to take action? Is it always appropriate to take action? That's what I don't know. So.
yes. I love that you're talking about this because you touched on some things that are really important too. Like, it's not that I want to die, but it's that I don't know how to live. So one of the feelings that are very predominant in someone who is thinking about completing suicide, it's exactly that. You don't know how to live. You feel like hopeless. You feel like you are a burden. You feel like life is better off without you. The people around you will live a better life without overwhelm if you are not around. And you are feeling trapped. You could be feeling trapped because of grief, that you're not being able to elaborate your grief, or you could be feeling trapped because of a financial situation, or you could be feeling trapped because of diseases, or because of your job that it's a toxic environment. And I think that nowadays that the image of the body, it's so important for society. I would call attention also to talk to your kids, to talk to your teenager kids, to talk to your college kids, because there is a lot of discrimination and bullying that could lead to suicide. There are lots of cases of suicide in teenagers because they feel like their body does not correspond to what they are supposed to be, or a colleague, a classmate is bullying because of other situations. So these are all risk factors. And you're going to see the person, again, like I said, with suicidal ideas, behaving differently in isolation, sleeping more or sleeping less, eating more or eating less. But the feeling of hopelessness and the feeling that if you die, it's way better because then you're going to go home in heaven and you're going to rest in peace, held by God. But that's not like that, because only God knows the plan for our lives. And while you are still here, you have the chance to keep saying yes, and you have the chance to keep building your life to the full purpose of your life, right? So when Mary was asking about if it's when it's time to take action and when it's time to just talk about it, I think taking action has different ways of being, right? You could take action just like I said, by the semicolon technique, and pausing and using resources that will calm you down, ground you down, you with yourself, you with your suicidal ideation, like going for a walk, like what I do, what I have learned to do with my therapist and with my psychiatrist. I've learned that whenever I have a suicidal idea, I calm down, I stop, I am aware of that. I recognize, I know that I am only human and that's only an idea and it's going to go away. But it's going to go away if I work helping that thing to go away, right? So I say a prayer, I go for a walk, I look at the sun, I enjoy the sunshine, I take a long bath or I take a long shower, or I play with my pet, or I grab my pen and I journal about that thought, about that idea, about that thing, about the trauma. I let it up and out. I cry. Sometimes I just need a good cry, right? The other things, you could do meditation like we just did, the breathing exercise to calm down. You could use nervous vagus techniques like humming. You could just like hold yourself and tell yourself that you are safe, that you are lovable and loved, and that you are okay. You could listen to music. You could schedule your life in advance that you're going to have activities in your life that will decrease the sense of burnout, because healthcare providers are in the high risk of suicide. Why? Because we are burnt out. Like we are working too much and it's very stressful. So whenever you are living a stressful life, more than you are able to handle as a normal human being, not trying to be super Wonder Woman or Superman, you are prone to burnout. So I would invite you to schedule moments in your time during the week that you can just rest, sleep better, eat better, hydrate, practice gratitude, connect with family, connect with friends, and again, really check in with yourself. How am I doing right now? How am I doing today? What could I do for me to feel better? What is the easy, smallest step that I can take right now to take care of me and calm down? Sometimes it's just sitting down and doing nothing, being still. And connect with your friends, connect with your family, connect with your loved ones, connect with your coworkers, connect with your neighbors, connect with group supports, connect with your community, connect with church or any kind of community that you would want to be a part of. Because we as humans, we are a pack animal like dogs. So we do like to have connection. Whenever we go to isolation, we are prone to have more mental issues. So I invite you to do that. And also remember that, and Mary and I are going to talk about this, that you could always look for resources that are outside you and your circle of friends and family. Again, a therapist, a coach, a psychiatrist, or helplines such as 988. And if you are really, really in a serious situation, you should definitely call 911. Yeah.
So, all right. So you sort of, you touched on and talked a bit about behavioral changes. Um, and you talked about things from the, I think from the perspective of someone who's struggling. What would you, if I, let me see, if I was worried or concerned about someone in my life, what should I be looking for? What would, if I were going along in my life and I have a loved one who seemed to be struggling, should I be looking for mood swings? Should I be looking for sleep disturbances in them? Should I be looking for, should I be thinking about or looking for areas that they might be experiencing grief or trauma, and what should I be looking for? Those things. Is there anything else?
I think that you were spot on, looking forward for all these things, substance abuse and these changes in your mood, changes in your sleeping pattern, your eating behavior. And also, again, like I said, if people are, if this person is talking more about feeling sad, depressed, hopeless, and but also I think that's the major thing, because nowadays when you go out to have dinner with someone you love, people are on their phones and they are not even talking. And people like people are in the same house and they are texting each other. So I would say the most important thing in preventing suicide, for awareness, even for mental disorders, even for loneliness, is connection. So like if you have kids, if you have grandkids, if you have teenagers, if you have college students, ask, hey, open-ended questions, right? Because that's the best way to get to know someone and what's going on with them. It's like, how are you doing? How is your day? What have been your new projects? What have you been pursuing these days? Opening the conversation. So then the person who is dealing with suicide inside their hearts and their brains, they will feel like, okay, my mom, she really cares about me. She honors, she respects me, she sees me, she values me. Or my best friend, or my sister and my brother, they are asking because they genuinely want to know, like looking in the eye, listening and hearing without rebating, without, just being present. Because one thing that I want to shine light on is about the suicidal person mind. Like when you are dealing with suicidal thoughts, it is very heavy, but it's not only heavy for me, it's a sensation that I think that if I'm going to talk to you, Mary, it's going to be heavy for you. And I don't want it to be heavy for you because I care about you. So I carry all this heavy weight with me because I don't know who I could share that with. And I have shame, I have guilt, I have sadness, I have frustration, I have disappointment, and I am exhausted, walking through life to a point that I feel trapped. I cannot get out of this situation anymore. There is no way out. I don't know how to change this. And when you get to, I don't know how to change this, you are in a burden and heavy hopelessness place that unfortunately it changes the circuits on your brain, it changes your neurotransmitters. It's not my fault. I will go through and complete suicide because everything is completely changed in my brain, you
Is
know.
there like a difference? So I was thinking that my limited knowledge, but I think that for me, again, when I was in the deep throes of grief, ever thinking about suicide, one of the things that would stop me was to think about, you know, my children or my husband and how they would react. Now, it's sort of my understanding that when someone is really, and again, I apologize if this is ignorant, but it's also been my understanding that someone who is really in deep pain and who is really considering completing suicide is that they don't see it quite that way. They also actually sometimes will see it as it'll be one less thing for, like, if it were me, I would, instead of thinking what a terrible thing this would be to leave my children with, I would be thinking that they would be better off without me. I can't get to that place where thinking about how they'll grieve me. It's more like it's better for them that I'm not there, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yes, I say that suicide, as everything in life, is an escalation process, right? You start feeling tired and suddenly you are hopeless and overwhelmed and there is no way out. So, in the middle of this journey, in the middle of this road, you are there. It would be better to be dead. Oh, but I need to take care of my children, you know. But it comes to a point that if you don't seek for help, yes, you're going to think, you know what? My children are better off without me. So that's why we are bringing awareness, because it's important to catch the person, and it's important for the person to catch him or herself or myself in a place that when I thought about killing myself, when I thought about completing suicide, that was my dog, Frank, who brought me to the reality, because everything is blurred. Everything is like, it's almost like a bad dream, and it's blurred. And you are just like, I can't do this anymore. And it just escalates. And like I said, it's a neural reaction in your body. Everything is unbalanced in your body. You don't have the substances that bring you to feel better, that bring the good mood, that bring the hope. Like, why do you have postpartum depression and women could kill themselves because of that, could complete suicide? Because of the imbalance, the hormonal imbalance. So when you go deep, deep, deep into depression, anxiety, PTSD, fear, trauma, you get all these hormonal imbalance as well. And
And
that's
then
why,
transmitters
and it escalates and it escalates and it escalates. So that's why you should catch yourself for you to seek for help. And that's why, like you said, time for action, when you are in a very extreme high imbalance with your brain, your psychiatrist might make you an impatient because you have to get out of that crisis, that flare. So then you could go back to normal life, quote unquote, and start doing the techniques that we just described right now, right? And one other thing that I think is very important nowadays is that um, and they do this in the emergency department. They do that for any kind of appointment you are having. There is a suicide awareness questionnaire. So
mm,
that if you answer, I would definitely tell you, answer honestly, answer with your heart. You know, like they were going to ask, are you having feelings of depression and sadness, not being able to do life, you know, thinking about completing suicide, thinking about hurting yourself? You know, that's very important to be honest, because people who could help you will be there for you in the medical healthcare field. And then they will guide you with therapies, with psychologists, and they will create a safety plan like my psychiatrist created for me. Hey, if your dog is the one who helped you come back to the reality and come back to life, how about you leave some little dog biscuits around the dog treats around the house, so when close to things that could be dangerous for you, so then you're going to think about your dog and it's going to ground you. It's always about grounding, bringing yourself back from the blur that you are when you are thinking about completing suicide.
and
And I know that you could be using sticky notes, reminders, affirmations, right, Mary? You talk so much about affirmations. I'll let Mary talk a little bit because I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, you're not at all. You're just, I'm just so, you're saying a lot of really wonderful things that I'm just wanting to follow up with a question, which is there, as a parent or as a friend or a loved one, is there anything wrong with, or is there is it appropriate or not to simply say to someone that I'm very worried about or very concerned about, maybe not just open with this, but try to have a conversation about how they're doing, and then ask, is it okay to ask them, would you think, in your point blank, have you ever considered hurting yourself? Or what would be a good way to phrase that without, what would be the best way to have that received? And, because I think that there's probably people who are worried, and so is it appropriate to just simply have that conversation, and put it in a delicate way, maybe, rather than saying, are you thinking of completing suicide, by saying, have you ever, have you considered or ever thought about harming yourself? Is that something that would be helpful, do you think?
I believe so. I believe there are two things that we're going to talk here. The major thing common to these two topics is being present, being a safe, sacred space, being able to listen without being horrified, being able to listen without being overwhelmed, being able to listen without becoming an additional burden to the suicidal person, being able to just be there for a hug, holding hands, just, you know, um, look in their eyes and stay as minimal as possible. Do not give any unsolicited advice. Do not, I would say, do not like make any joke or criticism or judgment, because some people deal with hard issues making fun. So I would say, which is the adult humor of dealing with difficult stuff, right? So I would say, whenever someone who is dealing with suicidal issues, concerns, ideation, thoughts, look for help in you, be there. Be there completely with your heart. Be there in silence. Be there just being there. And yes, like you said, how do we talk about this? I think it's a difficult conversation, and like all difficult conversations in life, not only suicide, but like cancer, grief, divorce, relationships, problems with your marriage, problems with your kids. I do believe that the best way is always an open-minded conversation, general questions, dropping the guns. I don't know, dropping your levels of nervousness and expectation, just like, starting showing that, hey, I see that you are behaving differently. I see that you are not sleeping well. I see that you are being grumpy. What's going on with you? There you go. And then the person is going to say something, or maybe the person says nothing, and you could say, listen, I see what's going on, and I'm sorry for whatever is going on with you. I just wanted to say that I'm here for you because I love you, and I'm here for you because together we could walk any situation better, you know and if you don't want to tell me right now, take your time, but I want you to know that I'm here for you no matter what. So that's a way of opening the door, and you could open the door slowly, or if it doesn't open once, you can try this every day. You can try this once a week, but just be there and see how escalating the issue is, right?
Okay.
Suddenly someone is just behaving grumpy, but then by Wednesday, this person is not sleeping. And then by Friday, this person is drinking heavily. So you see that it's escalating very fast. So you got to take action faster as well. And one more thing that I wanted to say. If you are the person who is dealing with suicidal ideation, I see you. I know how very difficult it is to ask for help because you are feeling guilt, shame, fear, trauma, depression, hopelessness, because you don't want to be a burden you already feel like a burden, because you don't want the person who you are choosing to talk to keep checking on you 24/7, because then it's going to be even more stressful and overwhelming. So again, just learn how to ask for your help. Instead of texting, hey, how are you? How is your day? Expecting the other person to come back and then you can keep connecting. Just say, hey, Mary, I'm having a difficult day. Could you give me 5 minutes? You know, because then you are connecting with a different energy, the energy of being there for the other person in a serious matter. And you could tell, like I told my sister many, many times, listen, I'm talking to you about that, but it's because I trust you and I need someone that I can trust, that it's not going to be gossiping about that because it's important for me, and I don't need your advice. I'm just putting it up and out. And I do not want you to call me every day to see if I'm still alive. I am going to keep in touch. If you want me, I'll text you every day, just an emoji for you to know that I am alive. But I need space as well because I need to elaborate that, and that's something that I think it's very important for both parts.
Yes, that's very courageous. And that was going to be my next question, which was, how do you support someone without it becoming overwhelming? And so for you, it's great that, with you, and you probably didn't get there overnight, but that you were able to say, you were able to be honest about what is more helpful to with the people closest to you. I'm sure you have other people who care about you, um, you know, who have wanted to reach out from time to time, that you look at your phone or whatever means that they're reaching out to you, and you're like, oh no, I mean, it's like it gets to be too much. And then, so as the person, because that would be me, so the person who wants to reach out but doesn't want to be overwhelming, you know, do you have any pearls of wisdom regarding that? Or how do we know what's too much or too little? I
I
don't know.
feel like every relationship is different because, it's the energy between you and me and between you and my sister. Every person brings something different to the relationship. So what I am saying, it's what I see in me and what I think it's good in general from what I did with my therapy and my work. I would say it's always very important to speak clearly and to speak loudly what you need, what you want, and what you expect. So, like, if I'm telling you, Mary, I'm having a difficult day. Mary, I have been thinking about completing suicide. Mary, I just want to put this up and out. Mary, I don't need you to be connecting me every day. And then you're going to look at me and maybe you could say, hey, Anna, how could I help you besides listening? What do you want me to do? Or, hey, Anna, I worry about you and I don't want to overwhelm you, like my sister said. But while you are dealing with this in this more acute phase, could you just send me an emoji so I know you are doing well? You
That's a good
know,
question. Yeah.
and if you want to talk, and whenever you want to talk to me, I'm here. You could call me, you could text me, and just be present, just like not impose anything, just be there. And but also express your anxiety, because of course, if you are telling me, Anna, I'm thinking about completing suicide, of course I'm going to be worrying about you, right? But just asking, like yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I posted on my Instagram about the semicolon technique, that is a longer pause, and you pause because then you are reflecting and rewriting your story. Like, I'm not going to go through with completing suicide. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go journal. Anyway, I posted about that. And a friend of mine who knows about my suicidal ideation past that was more acute, and has also dealt with suicide ideation, he texted me immediately. He texted me, Anna, are you okay? That's it. And I said, yes. And he said, okay, I just saw your post on Instagram and I wanted to check because since I posted about suicide, he thought that was something that was hurting me. And he said, I just wanted to make sure. And I said, thank you very much. And I loved it because you see that you create connection. That is what is important, to feel safe, to feel like you belong, to feel like you are human as everybody else, to feel that you are not a burden, to feel that you are seen and honored, right? That you are held by others and you are held by God and you are held by faith and you are held by the universe. So, and then I texted back, thank you so much. And I know that he also deals with suicidal concerns. And I said, remember, I am always here for you. And he said, I know, and I am always here for you too. You know, because that's what is important for the person back and forth, the one who is helping the one who needs help, and vice versa, for the person to feel safe, to feel calm, to feel confident, to feel trust. You know, that's the most important thing. And being honest, being vulnerable. Listen, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk all the time, but are you okay? Awesome. I am. Thank you.
I think just being, courageous enough to reach out and find out. It's just as simple as that, right? You know,
Yes.
you're stepping out of your own fear, um, and not making it about you potentially, but just, hey, are you okay? And again, we are not powerful enough to save another human being. So you do what you can do, and reach out, create that connection. And that is, again, so for anyone who's watching this who does have a loved one or someone that they care about who has been lost to completing suicide, you were not that powerful. And I'm sure you did everything that you knew to do or could do with the information that you had. I know that's, what's the words? Everyone says it all the time, but it's true. And, you're just not that powerful. You're just not that powerful. And if you had known what to do, I'm sure you would have, or I'm sure you did the best you could.
Yes. And also, I remind myself all the time, although it's very hurtful, although it's very tragic, although it's shocking, dying by suicide is dying. And it might be it's dying like dying by cancer or dying by an accident. You know, I remind myself, we are here doing our best to bring awareness so then we can embrace as much people as possible for them to not walk that journey, because saying yes to life is worthy. However, for the people who have died by suicide or the people that we are not going to be able to help, it's not that we are not going to be able to save, because we also don't know the mystery, the plan of God, the plan of God. We have to surrender, you know. Suicide might be the exit door for that person, like cancer was the exit door for my husband, you know. So it's the way that that person is going to die, because that was written, right? So, and it might be hard to listen to this, but that's how I had to deal with my own grief, because my husband died when he was 51 years old from colon cancer, and he was so full of life, and I saw him dying every day, and boom, dead. But that was the plan of God, that I just had to surrender, and that was his exit door. So let's work together on reverting as many exit doors that we can, and holding space and being together and understanding that, like Mary said, we are not different. We are all similar. We are all humans. We have the same fears. We have the same frustrations. We have the same neurotransmitters and hormones. So We are humans. Let's hold each other. Because one thing, when you connect, and that's scientific, right? For people who need science, when you connect, you increase your oxytocin. And when you increase your oxytocin with a smile, with a talk, with a phone call, with a message, with a hug, with techniques that are caring for you, like the shower, the walk, the sun, the water, the exercise, all of this.
Eating good food and, giving yourself a hug. And I mean, we're kind of rushing through those things, but those are so important. And I know that, for me, when I was in the deep throes of grief and having suicidal thoughts, that moving my body and eating food and spending time counting my blessings and being grateful, those are those are tools that can reset your neurotransmitters, can release the serotonin, the oxytocin, all of those endorphins that help create a better feeling of well-being. And that's
Exactly.
how you are able then to, move out of those pockets and then create larger and larger potentially pockets of feeling better. And then when you start to feel low again, you repeat, you rinse and you repeat, and it creates momentum and you feel better and better. And it's the wonderful thing about it is that then that when you should find yourself at the bottom of the bell curve, that, why am I here right now? And what could I do? Those are the things that you can do to begin to climb back up. So,
Yeah. And remembering that we are holding each other through our souls. This is such an important topic for me that I would like to make a recap. How about that, Mary?
please do. I was going to,
I'm going to be looking at my notes because I
yeah,
really think that I want to recap for us to not miss anything, because this is a question for life. This is fighting for life. So, suicide is very important, major distress. Lots of people die by suicide, especially veterans every day and healthcare providers, but everyone, because the risk factors are multiple. So, between the risk factors, discrimination, harassment, bullying, family history of suicide, abuse, like living in an abusive relationship that leads to trauma, mental trauma, substance abuse, any kind of mental illness, but particularly depression, anxiety, and PTSD, any kind of chronic illness that might lead to a debilitating life, chronic pain, and also what we live and have to do the hard work every day of healing, grief from someone you love dearly who died. The clues for you to pay attention in you and the people around you is behavioral change, mood swings, changing sleeping and eating patterns, also isolation, and when someone or you start talking and thinking too much about plans to kill themselves, the sense of hopelessness and the sense of not having any reason to live, and feeling like a burden and feeling trapped, imprisoned in your own life. But also remembering that are people who simply complete suicide and they give us zero clue. Personal is it's important for me to talk about suicide because I want us to advocate and become more participative in associations, committees from your state. It is very important to understand the suicidal mind. It's a mind that is dealing with guilt, with shame, with depression, with anxiety, with despair, a lack of energy, a lack of time, an extreme fear, and you are feeling trapped in your own life. You are feeling that there is no way out. You don't have anything that you could do to change that situation that is literally killing you. So, what is important to help, how you could help by listening, by being present, by being a safe, sacred space with honesty, with integrity, just listening with your heart, with no judgment, with no criticism, with no unsolicited advice. Stay there with compassion, with kindness, with the sense of love and belonging. Just being a companion, just being a partner, the best friend that that person needs at that time. Again, what are the healing tools that you could use? Everything that is for your self-care and self-love. First of all, recognize your suicidal ideation, recognize your plans, and pause and rewrite and shift the way you are doing your life. Little by little, step by step, smallest kind actions towards you. How? Let's go. Like Mary said, taking care of your body, of your mind, and your spirit, walking, any kind of exercise, enjoying the sun, sleeping. Sleep is a huge pillar in health. Taking care of your water, meditation, faith, songs, taking care of your food, journaling, letting all this pain, all these huge things, heavy things that are holding you, dragging you down, up and out. Practice gratitude. Schedule things that are fun for you, that are easy, like hobbies, like riding a bike, swimming, playing a sport, playing an instrument, flowers, volunteering, helping your community in anything. Again, faith, gratitude, having pets, playing with your pets, allowing the oxytocin to overflow with friends, with family, with support groups, having a coach or a psychologist or a therapist, or if needed for medication, a psychiatrist. Always seek help from a psychiatrist to see if you are in an acute flare phase, and helplines 988 that you call when you talk and you talk and you talk, and it's a safe space that you can trust, or 911 if it's a medical emergency that you are like at the spike level of your crisis. Learn to ask for help, be open, be vulnerable. Tell what you need, tell what you want, but learn to choose the people that you could use for your help, because you have to be with a person that will be a safe, sacred space for you. Again, no gossip, no unsolicited advice, no judgment, no criticism, just being present and holding you with the heart and with the soul. Check in yourself daily. Check in the other people you love daily. Prevent burnt out. Again, also that is really important happening today in the world and in the United States and in the community. Speaking out loud, being an advocate, participating in coalitions, knowing that if you are in the emergency department or in any medical appointment, be honest about how you are feeling regarding your mental health, because they have safety plans and they have therapies that you could use, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, and they will be by your side and get your back. And reminders, sticky notes. You are lovable. You are loved. You are a child of God. We love you. We care about you. And you got this. Together, we are humans. We are similars. We have a huge soul like the blue sky, and everything will come and go. And we are just going to keep holding each other with the heart of our souls. And that's what I wanted to share as a recap. And my dear Mary is gonna forgive me because I spoke too much, because this is so very important for my heart. And it makes me feel so happy to be here of help to anyone I could help, because it's really important for me, because we have this life and this life is worthy. And I invite you and I urge you to keep saying yes to you and to your life. And you could find me on Instagram, you could find me on Facebook, you could find me on LinkedIn if you need help and you don't have anyone just contact me and I'll be there to sit with you on this bench. And I'll be there to give you guidance. I will be there to tell you, hey, you need to go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a coach, because no matter who is listening to you, it is always way better if you seek for proper help with providers that will dig deep on what is causing you to think about suicide and dig deep on what you can do to tap into your power, the power of your soul, to get out of this hole. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, Anna, wow, I'm just so moved. It's so powerful. And I can't thank you enough for sharing all this incredible, amazing, powerful information. And I would so encourage and invite anyone who's listening to send this episode to someone who they know might need to hear it. Which I can't think of anyone who doesn't need to hear this, because we all need to be there for one another and not let this darkness, slide by without shining light on it. So I want to thank you, Anna, Dr. Rosa, for sharing from your heart and your soul all of that incredible and powerful information. And I want to thank you who is listening for staying with us. And I just know that you were listening with an open heart, through a lens of grace, and we so appreciate that. And I know that I'm sending you so much love. And again, on Instagram, Anna is Anna Rosa Gratitude. I am with Lots of Love, Mary. It'll be in the show notes. If you need anything at all, if we can support you in any way, please do reach out. Anna, last word.
Thank you so much, everyone. Keep saying yes to life. We walk this journey together, holding hands and holding our souls. I love each one of you, and I love you, Mary. Thank you.
I love you too, Anna. We're walking with grace. Until next time, we will be back. Take good care of you. Bye-bye now.